We're here at 349 West 86th Street in New York City's Upper West Side. The property was first built in 1900 and served as a free Russia house for asylum seekers leaving communist Russia. It then went into complete disrepair when it became infested with rats and pigeons before the current owner bought it and did an amazing 5-year renovation to turn it into this beautiful mansion. So let's explore this Gilded Age mansion. So we are now sitting here in the formal sitting room or the saloon. This room pays homage to that amazing time where opulence and material wealth is fully displayed. The designer and the owner of the house made a decision to be eclectic, but pay attention to the gilded age of this property, which was built in between 1900 and 1901. But today it has all the modern necessities, built-in speakers through the walls, Gilded Age molding through the wall and the ceiling. There are 8 fireplaces throughout this mansion, and this is one of the wood-burning fireplaces, which is extremely beautiful. Check out this acanthus-style marquetry. It comes through the wood paneling. It really shows the detail that the owner has gone to, and he did this spectacular renovation that took 5 years to redo this entire townhouse. Speaking of details, look at this French gilt glass. The Italian brass details come through every part of this room, from the chandelier to the wall lights to the hardware on the doors over here. There's either a full or half Juliet balcony on every single floor of the townhouse, which spans 6 levels. There's also something very Imperial Russia about the design of this room. This house used to be called Free Russia because the first owner turned it into an asylum house for Russians escaping communist Russia.
349 West 86th Street might look like just another Gilded Age mansion, but for decades it was the Kremlin's quietest enemy in New York. The story begins with betrayal. After the 1917 Russian Revolution, King George V famously left his cousin Tsar Nicholas II to die by refusing him asylum in Britain. While icons like Sergei Rachmaninoff and Alexander Tolstoy built the initial support network for these refugees, it was Prince Sergei Beloselsky-Belozersky who eventually purchased this Manhattan townhouse in 1951 to serve as the Free Russia House. It became a fortress where pre-Soviet culture survived the Cold War, sheltering high-stakes defectors and preserving the history the Soviets tried to erase, standing as a symbol of resistance until the USSR finally collapsed in 1991.
If you see some of the details in this design, from the chandelier to the birdcage view down to the staircase, it has that feeling of imperialism and built in with the late 19th century design. I love this mirror that's been attached to the side wall that not only brings light into the room from the windows, but it also has an antique feel, even though it's a new mirror. Now, this is the room where you would be having your parties with socialites and New York's elite if you were living here. Before you take them through to the other end of this floor, which is the movie room and bar. Let's come and check it out. Hi, we are now in the cocktail lounge. We've been completely transported into a different time. This is mid-century modern, think 1960s Mad Men style. We've got a Moto chandelier. We've got the cocktail bar in the corner. So you would have your friends here for a quiet drink, make your cocktails in the corner, and then bring them over to the Perspex bar facing the garden. So they have kept some details to the Gilded Age style though, like these Italian brass hardware detailing on the windows. In this room, you won't see any shreds of marble or the traditional chandelier. We've got more textured wood paneling through the entire room to give those earthy tones, but they've still incorporated the brass hardware in every little detail they can. And don't forget, this place was a complete shell of a house before the owner took it on and did a complete 5-year renovation to bring it up to this intricate detail and the standard that it's at today. the owner is not just eclectic in his design inspiration for the house, but also in his art collection, where he has this Patrick Hughes 3D painting where you can see the optical illusion as you come by. Now we are in the primary suite, the most beautiful Parisian-style hotel-like room in the house. But it has every modern luxury you could want, including a projector screen that drops down from the ceiling so you can watch movies in bed. And you might not have noticed, but every room in this house has its own pantry. So if you need a little snack while you're in your bedroom, you have everything you need there, right next to the floor-to-ceiling marble fireplace and the dumbwaiter. So you can also get your breakfast in bed delivered through the dumbwaiter from the kitchen if you can't be bothered to go downstairs. Now, if you can be bothered to go downstairs, you can either take the elevator or the staircase. Every piece of this room has been custom designed by the owner of the house. The textured wallpaper, the linen drapes, the Juliet balcony. There's a powder room with pink marble vanity and flooring. We come through this beautiful mid-century modern closet with wood paneling across the walls and the ceiling. So much detail has been added. Check out this leather handle on all the closet and drawers. The owner has also mixed American and European influence with some Bauhaus movement-inspired lighting in this closet. As we move from the closet into the primary ensuite, now it's like we're in a Roman bathhouse, back to the marble floors and walls and built-in bathtub. So this is my favorite room of the house, and it is the heart of the home. It is the kitchen, and it's a beautiful one. We have marble countertops and copper detailing in every way you look, from the holophane industrial lighting to the top of the stove hood above the oven. There is a butler's pantry off of the kitchen, and the kitchen leads straight out to a beautiful terrace outside these French glass doors. And you might not have noticed it, but through the cupboards in the top of the kitchen, they have a central speaker system, so you can have music all through the room leading out to the terrace when you entertain. Now, this huge space not only has the formal kitchen, but it also has this little kitchen nook where the family eats their breakfast, and a lot of the time they eat dinner here as well, or have friends over. This has been a family home for over 20 years, and this is really central to their home. There's another entranceway to the terrace, and when it's not covered in snow in the middle of winter, this is a beautiful setting. Now, this is where the magic happens. This is the dumbwaiter where we're seen in other rooms of the house. This is where your breakfast is going to be delivered up to your primary suite. Welcome to the library. We have now been brought into a new time period once again. This room feels like the Victorian England era. We have beautiful velvet sofas, a stone fireplace. And as we see in every luxury property in New York these days, a chessboard seems to be a necessity. They've also moved away from the brass hardware and gone for a chrome hardware on the windows. It's no wonder this house is so popular on the film shoot schedule, because every room seems to have a different theme. So whether they're shooting a movie or a TV show or a fashion magazine shoot, I'm sure they can find whatever they want. And this Victorian English style library plays right into that theme if anyone wanted it for a film shoot. And now Lydia is going to tell us a little bit more about this house.
So the owner of this building purchased it as a shell with the Beaux-Arts facade in place, and it was totally filled with pigeons and rats. And the staircase was missing. It had fallen into disrepair. So he decided on creating a very livable mansion. So even though there's formal rooms, so you saw the parlor floor has a formal entertaining space, a lot more of this house is more comfortable, set up for everyday modern living, and not just a Beaux-Arts Gilded Age style. They're actually on the film circuit, so they lease their property for film shoots, and they've been in several big movies and TV shows, and that covers their property taxes and then some. So as an investment, it is a nice thing to have and there's no restrictions like you would have in a regular building on rentals. This home is 7 beds, 7 baths, 7 powder rooms, 8 fireplaces, a commercial-grade elevator, outdoor space on every level. So you either have a Juliet balcony or a full terrace. They have a gym. They have 3 laundry rooms. They have massive storage space and 3 separate major entrances. So if they have a formal entrance, they have an entrance for the strollers and bikes, and then they have a staff entrance that just goes down to the basement for deliveries. So everything's sectioned off nicely. There's a whole guest suite on its own level. So if you want to have friends over, you can have them stay for even a long time and not be in your space, so to speak.
And we're currently in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Can you tell us a little bit about this neighborhood?
Yeah, so we are in prime Upper West Side. We're right off of Riverside Park. And the Hudson River, and it's a nice area. This is very residential, yet you're only 2 blocks to some of the best creature comforts in New York, and the subways and restaurants and stores. And this block here, it's a double wide, so you can see it's extremely quiet. Most buildings that are built in this turn of the century will have a main kitchen that's on the ground floor or in the basement. Now, this owner decided he didn't want to have his main kitchen in the basement because they want to live in the areas where they have outdoors and light. So they created a main dining area and a main large eating kitchen with its own huge terrace right off the kitchen on the 3rd level, which is very unusual for a townhouse. All of this is custom made, everything it was down to the rafters. So everything here got renovated. It took them 5 years to build it. Every single piece of wood, you can see the inlaid floors, the coffered ceilings, everything was designed for this space. So this owner, he was specifically looking for a 25-foot wide building, which is very rare in New York City. And also he wanted to do a project. He wanted to create a custom home. So a lot of people, they buy townhomes and they're 20 feet wide. You can see it feels a lot different, that extra 5 feet. Plus you got the depth. So you really do feel like you're in a mansion.
So you're a senior global real estate advisor and you specialize in the luxury market. Mm-hmm. How does this house compare to your experience in luxury worldwide?
So this building is actually one of the nicer buildings that I've ever seen, be it New York City or London or other places. It's really a beautiful space, and it does fall into some of the highest quality category that I've ever seen or represented in New York City. And actually, people who visit this home, they see that as well.
So what would the market value be of this home?
The current market value for this home is about $30 million US. New York City tends to creep up in value, so we sometimes see little dips. Right now, we're in a little bit of a dip. I would foresee that it even goes up in value over time, just like the rest of the city has always done. That's the nice thing about New York City. Our values are strong. A lot of people come from overseas and they buy homes here. I've never actually met anyone who lost value in New York City. So it's a nice place to invest. It's a nice type of home to be living in. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us in this episode of High Life. And as always, if you want us to check out any of the buildings you love, let us know in the comments. Now, I'm going to grab our keys to the next place.